In episode 7, Shin, Th3, Gahan, and Tsubaki travel by horse-drawn carriage. Gahan suspects that the bandits who attacked them were after church goods being transported, but it seems the bandits were unaware of the specific nature of the cargo. Gahan believes their plan was to kill the driver and guards and then steal the entire carriage. Shin recalls that Thoria mentioned becoming a new priest requires church approval and wonders if someone might be trying to sabotage them. The journey continues without further incident, and they arrive in Beirut. Mr. Nak is grateful and gives Shin and his companions a scroll to present to the guild as proof of their mission's completion. After reporting to the guild, Gahan and Tsubaki plan to head to Kilmet, while Shin and Th3 decide to travel to Farnet. Shin suggests they travel by carriage, and since the journey is long, he considers getting his own. They visit a carriage dealer, where Shin decides to buy a spacious carriage that can carry people, goods, and also be used for sleeping. The seller asks if Shin has horses for the carriage. When Shin replies he doesn't, the seller recommends strong-legged horses, noting that a large carriage might need more than one horse to pull it. Shin mentions that monsters can pull carriages. The seller agrees, but notes that monsters are harder to tame. Shortly after, Shin receives a telepathic message from Shni, who informs him that her business in the kingdom is finished and asks about his whereabouts. Shin explains he's in Baron, buying a carriage and looking for horses. Shni offers to find a suitable monster to pull the carriage, but needs another day to reach Farnet. She also mentions a commotion at the royal castle because the moon sanctum disappeared, which Shin finds surprising. Shni believes this is a fitting punishment for the kingdom's officials, who secretly monitored and tried to recruit her despite publicly praising her. Shin and Th3 find an expensive but luxurious inn and decide to stay, booking 2 rooms that cost nearly half their mission commission. Yuzuha transforms into her human form and enjoys the soft bed. While waiting for dinner, Shin maintains his weapons and Th3 joins him. They have dinner in Shin's room, and Yuzuha invites Th3 to bathe with her in Shin's bathroom, leaving Shin flustered. The next morning, Shin modifies the carriage by adding springs to the wheel axles to absorb shocks. Shni telepathically informs Shin she is near the North Gate. Shin encounters a large, powerful wolf monster named Grufagojad, which Shni had tamed to pull the carriage. Grufagojad has a horn, indicating it's a special species. Shni explains that to pull the carriage, the monster must be on par with a sacred beast. Shin is impressed but concerned about the monster's size. Shni instructs Grufagojad to shrink, showing its ability to change size. Th3 recognizes the monster as one she helped when she was a child. Touched by the reunion, Shni releases her contract with the monster, allowing Th3 to form a new bond with it. They perform a ritual, and Th3 becomes the monster's master. The group continues their journey to Farnet, traveling quickly and comfortably in their modified carriage. Shin has a casual conversation with Gerard, who is surprised to see Shin alive. Shin, equally surprised, asks how Gerard is still around. Gerard laughs, admitting he doesn't know. He then introduces Wolfgang, the king of beasts, and his daughter, Kor. Gerard also introduces his confidants, Van Q and Rhyme Jalku. Shin introduces himself as a high human, triggering a flashback of him and Gerard fighting side by side in a past battle. Later, Shin, Gerard, and Shni sit together on Gerard's terrace, reminiscing about their past adventures. When Shni steps away to make tea, Gerard confides in Shin that he doesn't have much time left, believing he has only about a month to live. He feels his life, which has seemed to pause, is now slipping away since hearing of Shin's return. Gerard challenges Shin to a duel, expressing a desire to die as a warrior. Shin understands and accepts the challenge. Gerard has already informed Wolfgang and the others about his imminent death, feeling it's time to let go now that Wolfgang has proven to be a capable leader. That night, Gerard gathers his trusted friends, including Wolfgang and Kor, to tell them about his wish to die in a duel with Shin. Initially confused, they soon understand Gerard's intention. Having lived a long life, Gerard has seen his friends pass and their descendants grow. He wonders why he's still alive and believes the answer will come in the duel. Though initially upset, Kor eventually accepts her father's decision. The duel is scheduled for a week later in the Great Forest of Larua. As Shin prepares for the duel, he reflects on Gerard's request, understanding Gerard wants to leave the world on his own terms. On the morning of the duel, everyone gathers. Gerard shows Shin his worn-out gauntlet, which Shin repairs using the Moon Sanctum, restoring it to its original condition. The day of the duel arrives, and Shin and Gerard travel to the duel's location, a cliff overlooking the forest. Gerard has a final conversation with his confidants, entrusting the kingdom's future to Wolfgang and Kor. In the forest, Shin and Gerard begin their duel, fighting with intense attacks. Gerard transforms into a werewolf, increasing his speed and strength, while Shin responds with powerful magic. Both warriors push each other to their limits until their weapons break. Weakened, Gerard asks Shin for one final attack to see Shin's true power. Shin unleashes his strength, and Gerard accepts his fate, watching in awe. After the battle, Shin carries Gerard back. Wolfgang and Kor are saddened, but Shin reassures them Gerard fought valiantly. Gerard passes with a peaceful smile without regret. A grand funeral is held, and the entire Beast Kingdom mourns his passing. After the ceremony, Schnee finds Shin on the terrace and comforts him, reminding him it's okay to grieve the loss of a friend. In a bustling city, Shin notices Schnee and Th3 are dressed oddly and asks why. Schnee explains that as an elf, she stands out, so she disguised herself as a beast to blend in. Th3 enjoys the disguise because it looks realistic. Shin notes to himself that he created such disguises as a joke, but now they are proving useful. They hurry to meet Shebade, a member of the High Dragonal race and an ally of Shin, attending Gerard's funeral as a representative of Kilmont, a dragon kingdom allied with Farnad. At an inn, they meet Wolfgang and Kor, where Shebade pledges loyalty to Shin. Shin asks Shebade to relax and calls him by his real name. They discuss Gerard's death and Shebade's past as the first king of Kilmont, before he cut ties with the royal family. Shin gives Shebade his personal weapon, the Spear Najizuki, repaired and strengthened to be 5 times more powerful. After saying their goodbyes, Shin, Schnee, Th3 and Kor head to the guild. Shin takes on a quest to defeat goblins to raise his adventurer rank. They easily complete the quest and check on a forest damaged during Shin and Gerard's battle, finding it as recovered. After submitting proof of the goblin hunt, Shin receives a letter from Barlix, head of the Beerith Guild branch, summoning him to the royal palace. Schnee and Th3 wonder why, but Shin recalls his battle with Skull-Faced Jack and a powerful monster sword that flew far away. They decide to head to Beerith immediately, though Kor stays behind due to other obligations. Before leaving, Shin gives Wolfgang Gerard's repaired gauntlet, impressing him. The next day, Shin, Th3 and Schnee use teleportation to reach Beerith, arriving at the Moon Sanctum. They sense people nearby but use a skill to stay hidden. They proceed to the guild, where they are greeted by Silica and Celica. Shin mentions the letter from the guild leader, and Celica confirms it, teasing Shin about being surrounded by beautiful women. He jokes back about having male friends like Wilhelm. Celica reveals Wilhelm is rumored to be as strong as a rank S, making him hard to approach. Shin is then allowed to enter the guild leader's room. In the guild leader's room, Barlix and a wizard named Arid discuss a sword that flew to the royal palace. Arid explains that the sword, belonging to Skullface, ended up in the room of the second princess, Rayanne, causing a stir. The sword's attributes are impressive, rivaling the nation's sacred swords. Arid links the sword's magic to a gem Shin brought, easing suspicions about him. Barlix explains that Princess Rayanne has shown interest in Shin. Shin worries he might be punished for almost injuring her, but Barlix reassures him that Rayanne has fought Skullface before and understands the necessity of fighting with full strength. That night, Shin tells Schnee and Th3 about the situation. Schnee speculates the kingdom might want to recruit Shin or arrange a marriage. She suggests Shin could say he's engaged to Schnee or Th3 to avoid such offers. The next day, Shin is escorted by Gadris, a strong knight, to meet Princess Rayanne. She shows him the large sword and asks if he knows about it. Shin confirms it belonged to Skullface, whom he defeated. Rayanne says the kingdom often summons strong individuals, but initially suspected Shin of having ulterior motives. Now her intuition tells her he's trustworthy. Gadris adds that the letter from the Moon Sanctum is a key reason for trusting Shin. Rayanne then says she wants to duel Shin, leaving him speechless.